Edward Laos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the hotel guide publisher, Edward Laos.
Good afternoon, everybody. Edward Laos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Really looking forward to today's episode. I've got a great guest here, Neil Jacobs with Wild Origins. Neil, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Ed? Good to be.
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this episode and letting our guests know a little bit about who you are and what you got going on. But I like to do with all my guests is to tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, I know who you are, but some of our listeners and readers don't. But tell us how you got to where you are and maybe a little bit of background.
Well, varied. Thank you. Thanks for that. Quite a varied background in hospitality and different aspects of hospitality. I grew up in the UK and did hotel school there and studied languages and so on, and immediately started to travel. So very little time ever spent working in the UK, and started in Italy, actually in the island of Sardinia. I lived there for 3 years, then moved out to Southeast Asia. I was in Sri Lanka, from there to Barbados. The life of an international hotelier, really. And that was it. And then I ended up moving to the US in the late 80s, actually. Late 80s, I started in Denver and working for a group called, at the time, Grand Metropolitan, that actually owned Intercontinental Hotels and various other things, and then set up my own little company out of California, and moved into development of hotels. I spent much of my career running them, then developing them, and built a hotel in Indian Wells, California, called the Grand Champions, all around tennis, and then moved to kind of our sites to Hawaii, and we were the original developer of the Four Seasons in Walalai on the Big Island of Hawaii. And that's how I met Four Seasons. And long story very short, a couple of years later, ended up working for them and opening Four Seasons in Bali and elsewhere, and ultimately being president of Four Seasons for Asia Pacific. Did that, and then in the early 2000s moved back to the US and went into private equity with Barry Sternlick at Starwood Capital, and then was fortunate enough to be part of the owning group that bought Six Senses in 2012, and I moved back to Asia then to actually run that, and then about 7 years ago we sold it to IHG. I continued to run it up until about 6 weeks ago. And so the next phase is just starting. So that's really a too long an answer to a short question, but that's my story.
No, not at all. I knew your background, was very variety when it came to the hospitality side. So I think it was important for our listeners to know a little bit about it. Obviously, Six Senses is a big deal around the world, and kudos to you for increasing that brand and what it means to wellness and beyond. I know you are launching a new brand, a new company, a new initiative called Wild Origins. Tell us a little bit about that, and maybe, I know you said you're just kind of getting that going, but what are some of the things on tap for that as well?
Well, it really started from the perspective of needing to create a company, because I continue to do a little bit of work for IHG in the world of M&A, and working with their group on possible acquisitions, but doing it as a third-party consultant. And so to do that, I needed to have a proper company, right? A local entity, because is a listed group, so it couldn't just be me, right? So it was then about, well, okay, let me form that company, and what do I call it? And I had to do it really rapidly, and so I said, all right, just call it N. Jacobs and Partners. And then I said that in the morning, and by evening I said to myself, are you out of your mind? It sounds like an accounting firm, you know, or a law firm. You absolutely can't call it that. So we put a bunch of friends and colleagues together, and we brainstormed it for about 3 or 4 days, and we went through about 30 names and ended up with Wild Origins. And I think, you know, the name was resonated to me because I feel a little bit like that. I kind of, you know, I'm very focused, as you know, on sustainability and environment and well-being that were, you know, the platforms and the pillars of successes. And Wild Origins kind of felt good to me, whether it was me projecting that that's how I wanted to be seen. But I don't know, it was that. So there we landed, but really without any big ideas. And then over the course, and literally this was 4 or 5 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And over the course of the last 3 weeks, I mean, work has been, or assignments, or people have been coming and saying, could you help us with this? Could you do that? And so on. So it started to take on a life of its own. And I'm doing some work for a beautiful couple of brands out of Asia, one called Capella and the other called Patina, and helping the owners of those brands kind of move the dial a little bit.
Sure.
I'm working with another group called Potato Head, which is out of Bali, that, you know, came to life with a beach club, and then they added hotels and lots of fun and quite different to most of the things I've done. But so that is given me, is taking up some of my time. And on Monday, I start doing some work with a big PE firm out of London and New York called Kane, that also own a lot of hotels. They're major investor in Amman
Oh, wow.
and you know, they own the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills. And I mean, they've been in that. They own actually a Six Senses in Courchevel, which was how I met them. So all these things are kind of showing up, and I'm using the Wild Origins platform to funnel all this kind of these assignments through. But I don't see it as a consultancy, because where it's going is more of a collective, where I'm putting maybe ultimately 20 to 25 people as part of Wild Origins, all who have very different disciplines. You know, and we're covering retail, we're doing some philanthropic work, we're doing some mission-related work, we're doing residential. I mean, we're into music. We're doing a lot of things that I think are synergistic, but not really all about hospitality.
Got it.
So that's the way it's kind of looking now. And, you know, many people that I talk to go, yeah, we'd love to be in, we'd love to be part of that. So it's really putting a group of like-minded people who perhaps have other jobs or whatever, but care about the same things that we all care about. And under one umbrella, my team will handle the administration of it, but it will be everybody's kind of company. And that really resonates with me just from a value-driven position, right? So again, stay tuned. It's brand new. The website is not even out yet. We have a holding page. We're making it go live probably a couple of weeks from now, where there'll be a lot more information on it. And I'm just kind of intrigued to see where it goes and how it evolves.
Now, It definitely sounds like an amazing concept when I was reading about it in the press release as well. I think that collective and how you're doing it is so unique, and I love how you're letting it morph organically to what you want it to be.
Yeah, I think so. And it's exciting, and the exciting part is that it wasn't really planned, you know,
Yeah,
this way. So I too, I'm interested to see how it evolved. By the same nature, I'm also keen to probably buy another brand, and maybe try and do a bit of a repeat of successes, but with a different personality,
sure.
a different kind of ethos or expression of ethos, um, but having, I don't want to do another Six Senses. I love Six Senses and want it to flourish and keep going. But if I do another one, it needs to be different and
Different.
bring something else to the party. So that's also exciting. And someone asked me just a couple of hours ago, well, if you did that, would you call it Wild Origins? And I go, well, I'd never thought of that, but hey, that's not such a bad idea either. And we have a company, so maybe. But let's see what's out there and what shows up in that space for now.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually love that name. I love the Wild Origins name. It's very dramatic and appealing. So kudos to you on that.
Thank
Uh,
you.
from the N. Jacobs title to Wild Origins.
Right, much better, much
Much
better.
better. Well, let's switch over a little bit to the personal side because I always like to ask our guests some travel questions. Um, I know you're a well-traveled man, so what have been some of your favorite travel destinations? And then, do you have any bucket list travel spots left?
Yeah, I mean, I do have some bucket lists, to tell you the truth. I've never been to Alaska, and I feel that's missing, and absolutely I need to go there. I'm not a big cruiser, but I mean that's one part of the world that I think obviously you have to get to by
Sure.
ship, ideally smaller than larger, but it's something that I really want to go to. I've never been to Tibet.
Okay.
So much, having lived in Asia for so long. Um, it's interesting for me to go there spiritually, historically, um, and I'm in and out of China. It's a geopolitical issue, so to be a bit careful. But it's somewhere that I really do want to visit. And funny places, I lived in Sardinia for a long time, but have never been to Corsica. And everyone talks about how beautiful that is, and culturally it's different to, Sardinia, Sicily, the other islands in those areas. So that's on the list. And lastly, I also would like to go to Madagascar.
Wow.
I think sadly it's a very poor country, right? But it does have natural resource, and I know the government is driven to create you know, an ecotourism kind of
Mm.
platform there. I mean, it just piques my interest, although the poverty part is sad, but you know, maybe that's why they need some tourism because there's enough
Yeah.
happening there. So those are my bucket lists of favorite destinations. Certainly, Bhutan is one of them. Great, great country with not many people and not many visitors, but just so diverse and sheer beauty and very Buddhist, which I
Yep.
kind of lean towards from a. I don't even call it a religion. It's more about how you choose to live your life, right?
Correct.
Bhutan is a great example of that. Not too far from there. I'm a great fan of India and the Himalayas, or the foothills of the Himalayas. I love to go to Rishikesh. Um, Six Senses. We opened, or we didn't open. We took over a very well-known destination spa outside of a city called Dehradun, which is the foothill of the Himalayas, and that place was called Vana,
Wow.
and it's just beautiful there. And Rishikesh is crazy city. I mean, it's it's alcohol free, so thank God, because it would be even crazier. But it's probably the home of yoga. There were people that will debate that, and but lots of ashrams and lots of fun, actually.
Yep.
It's lots of fun, so I like to go there. Um, and Iceland. I think Iceland is coming into its own. It's probably the most extraordinary landscape I've ever seen, actually.
Really?
I mean, I don't really know what to compare it to. Maybe parts of New Zealand, but the drama of it, the waterfalls, the mountains, the black sand beaches, and it's just a spectacular geography and
Wow.
aesthetic. It's cold a lot of the year, but okay. Even summer is a little chilly. It's not very summery, but it's just beautiful. The skies are blue, and I love that. And the next, I think one of the next big destinations. I mean, I think Iceland is going to be one of them, but we're all talking about Albania right now. There's a lot of noise going on around Albania, and
Wow.
you go there and you run into all your hotel company colleagues from other companies. So everyone's looking. Not a lot's been done yet, but that would be.
But it's coming.
Stay tuned. It's coming. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I appreciate the insight, and I also love the places that you've been and the bucket list items. Our time is getting to where it was so fast, but
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, and I think there's some great things about to happen. But for our listeners, I know that you have the website is just kind of getting rocking and rolling, but what's the best way for them to learn more or find out anything on Wild Origins?
Well, to stay on, there's quite a bit of coverage on LinkedIn, actually. There were quite a few posts that we made. As I say, in a couple of weeks, the website will be more active. It is simply www.wildorigins.com. As I say, it's just a holding page, but in a couple of weeks, go online and have a look, and you'll see what's there, and it will be evolving literally in the next 2, 3, 4, and continue to evolve.
Sure.
In the next couple of months. So I'm excited about it. And, there'll be some interesting things, particularly on the philanthropic side. I feel very strongly about that. At Six Senses, what we used to do is, 0.5% of revenue was spent on sustainable activity, and that was collected both at head office and at the hotels.
Wow.
The money stayed in the jurisdiction where it was earned, right?
Got it.
And we will do the same thing at Wild Origin. So 0.5% of whatever comes in will go into a pot, and we'll figure out what to spend it on.
Divvy it up.
There's a few things that I'm really also care about from a mission standpoint. One of which is carbon monoxide. Which I'm learning a lot about every day. There's been some unfortunate deaths in hotels over the past years, and I think as an industry, it's something we need to be taking a look at a bit closer. So Wild Origins will also be used as a platform for those kinds of initiatives and things that we care about.
Well, awesome. We're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being part of this journey with you and kind of letting the world know about it through the hotel guy. But Neil, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast today.
A pleasure. Anytime. And thanks for having me.
You got it. Hey, to all of our listeners and readers out there, you know the drill, thehotelguide.com. Follow us, like us, and subscribe to this. We'll have Neil's contact information in the show notes, so you know how to follow up with Wild Origins and all that they have going on, not only online, but through LinkedIn and and the website as well. So again, as we like to say, travel, make memories. And until next time, everyone, take care.